Yeah, yeah. Let's go. Yeah, yeah. Let's go now. When the night feels heavy and the stars seem dim, there's a spark of courage deep within. A hand to hold, a word that's kind, can lift a heart and ease a mind. Light the way with hope, let kindness grow in every step. Let the good vibes flow. Together we rise with a brighter day. Hearts full of love, we'll light the way. When the road is winding and dreams feel far, a simple smile can be our star. Plant a seed of joy, let it bloom. Turn a fleeting hope into a tune. Every soul's a light, every heart's a flame. No one's too small to change the game. With open hands, we'll face the dawn. Together we'll keep the fire on. Light the way with hope. Let kindness grow in every step. Let the good vibes flow. Together we rise.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Aloha Friday, and happy Aloha Friday, everyone. We've made it to the end of the week. We are here. It is time to relax and chill. And guys, we have an action-packed show because not only do we have a guest co-host in the studio, but we have a VeVe official team member hanging out as well. She's slowly coming in right now. I can see her right now on the radar. But before we get her in, guys, let me get our awesome co-host in the studio. We have the one and only and our good friend from the seventh floor, Slider. What is up? Wait a minute, guys. But Fro actually came in on the back door. I see him there, Fro. I see you.
He snuck right in, huh?
He
You got
snuck
the
right in over
backstage
there.
pass.
I told you guys, he lives on the island. He lives on the island. What's up, Fro, bro?
Aloha Friday. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Can hear you.
Good to see you, man. I missed you last week, Friday. I missed you, but good to see you, brother. How you been?
Good, good. Hope everyone's doing well. D, thank you for having me. Slider, it says the VP's in the house.
Yeah, right. What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Thank you for having me on such short notice, D and Nano. I knew Slider was a co-host, but I'm like, hey, is it room for one more person on the couch just to hang out? And
You know, this
Got
guy's
plenty
so
of room
cool.
on the couch.
Everybody knows already Fro lives in the back lot, okay? Like, he's literally here all the time, and he's literally asking us to come on. Like, he was probably sneaking behind the curtain, like, I'm just going to pop in. So it's good to see you, brother. Thank you as well, Slider, for coming in, as well as for people watching right now on the live or on the replay. Also, guys, I want you to let you know that we do have a supported giveaway from VeVe Official. When you do see the bar at the bottom, that's the hashtag to enter. I'll show you right now what the hashtag is going to be. And the hashtag is hashtag be excellent to each other, because right now, guys, the space is a little bit rocky. I know that there's some communities out there that are going through some tough times. So we should be kind and we should just be excellent to each other. So, guys, if you want to win something for free, shout out to VeVe for the supported giveaway. Type in the chats right now, hashtag be excellent to each other, and you get to, we'll pick a winner at the end of the show. D, anything that you want to talk about before we're going to try our beaming technology again, Slider?
Real quick, if you haven't already, cast your votes for the people that you want to vote for. Vote for Raven and Fro. And Fro.
That's right.
this guy.
It's a very biased vote over here, guys.
And good luck. Everyone's a winner.
Yeah. Also, guys, just to let you know that you will be able to see the preview to Forever Man today. This is a character that I actually came up with when I was a kid, guys. When I was like 13, and like I found like a bunch of old composition books from when I was young, and I saw my old notes. I used to write short stories. This guy was in there, and so he's coming to life in 2026, by the way, because I just don't have time to make him a reality right now. But I did make a trailer for this. And who knows, maybe there'll be a comic book. I know with Lost Ties and the Writer, those are comic books, but this one's going to be a bona fide anime. So it'll be my first attempt on trying to make an anime, guys. So you'll get a little sneak peek of that in the middle of the show. So, but
Cool.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah, I saw
awesome.
that. I saw that
What's
on
that,
X. I was like, ooh. No, I said I saw that on X, and I was like, ooh, what's this? Like,
yeah, there's a lot of those in like this folder of mine, and I'd love to put them all out, but then it's like I don't want to put something out and not work on it. So yeah,
Okay.
so I'm giving myself to 2026. So. But yeah, guys, I think it's time to get her in. And Dee, who do we have here again?
We have Zoe. She is the from the VeVe Team. Here, and she is the comics campaign manager. So it's gonna be really awesome to get a chance to talk with her, not just about comics, but about her collecting journey and just maybe reminisce on some nostalgia, because I'm sure we got some things in common with her as well. So yeah, can't wait.
All right, guys. Well, I think we've waited long enough. I see her right now on radar, and let's get her in. Hopefully she comes in and materializes the right way, eh, Slider? So
Yeah. No malfunction.
Together,
yeah,
yes.
a lot of the stuff we buy here is from Temu, so I'm so sorry. But let's go. We'll be right back, guys.
Activate the machine.
Thought I'd never find the day broken down, but I'm not done picking up the pieces one by one, rising up stronger than before. I'm finding me, I'm something more.
We have a connection. Incoming guest.
I'm something more.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zoe from the VeVe official team, welcome to Aloha Friday. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Kia ora, everyone. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Let's go. And look, like Slider, all of her face is in one right place. It worked. We finally invented something that works.
Great
Yes.
technology.
We like to geek out around here, Zoe. Thank you for joining us. How have you been? Tell us about your day. How is Saturday for you? Happy Aloha Saturday.
She's in the
Yes,
future.
Saturday. Yes, Saturday's great. No, I don't know the lottery numbers. Everyone always asks in chat. I'm just going to get that out of the way. Don't know the lottery numbers yet. But my Saturday's going really well. It's been pretty chill. Did some chores, did some gaming, had a coffee, and I'm ready to go.
We're gonna have to get back to the gaming in just a bit, but before we get started, it's really awesome to have you here once again, guys. Like I said, we do have a supported giveaway from VeVe Official. If you'd like a chance to win something, enter hashtag Be Excellent to each other in the comments right now, and we'll do the giveaway at the end of the show. And with that, Dee, go right ahead.
Yeah, so thank you once again, Zoe, for your time and coming on and spending your weekend with us. Yep, ringing the bell.
Don't mind the elf.
Yeah, so just kind of want to jump into it and just kind of, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and like how you started your collecting journey. If you started off like when you were a kid, like a lot of us, just watching cartoons and collecting things that we never knew that would be talked about like many decades in the future. And here we are reminiscing and talking about things that we grew up with. So just kind of want to get your take on it and see what your background is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in New Zealand, which if you don't know where that is, it's next to Australia. If you don't know where that is, it's in the Pacific Ocean. It's like 8 hours away from Hawaii, if that gives anyone any geographical pinpoint there. So I grew up in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So that's the accent. Um, and yeah, I'm chatting to the team just before this, and I was kind of talking about how, when I was growing up in the 2000s, we would often get a lot of stuff would be released in the States or in Europe, and it would take several months to even get to New Zealand. And then maybe it might be in theaters. So the latest movies and things, the TV shows as well, we were always a couple of months or sometimes even years behind, because that's just what good old-fashioned, traditional broadcasting was like back then. And New Zealand's a very small country, a very new country. But yeah, so that's just kind of what it was like. So I kind of just had to make do with what I had. I would go to the library. Once I finally got internet access, I was on the internet all the time, just kind of getting as much as I could, watching TV all the time. But I had a really old dial-up, like 90s PC until I was like 12. So, it was a bit of a struggle street. Yeah, that was a bit of a struggle street. But I guess I was thinking about my collecting journey, and I think it started when I was a kid, and I would collect TY beanie kids that were like these yeah, they were like they were by the no way, amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't even remember when I started. I just remember like having them and collecting them. I think I was so young. I would do my chore chart, and I would do all my chores every week. And if I got 4 weeks straight, then I could, redeem a beanie kid. That was the thing I wanted to redeem. My brother collected Thomas the Tank Engine
Oh.
trains, and I would redeem beanie kids. And all my money I would save up and get beanie kids. That was kind of my collecting thing. I would always go down to the gift shop at the local mall, really excited to pick out whatever beanie kid they had. It was kind of just whatever they've got there. I would buy them for my friends, for their birthday parties. I would bring them to school. That was sort of the start of my collecting journey. And then I guess I moved on when I was a teenager. I got into Funko Pops. I finally got proper internet access that wasn't dial up, and got access to the internet, and sort of learned about fandom. Was able to stream TV shows basically as soon as they came out in the States. Was able to basically get my teeth into fandom and really geek out in my nerdy self, because I was a really awkward teenager. I didn't really have any nerdy friends, so I was big into music as well, like bandom growing up, like the pop punk scene. But also I was also a huge closet nerd. I'm not a closet nerd anymore because that's what I do for a living, and now I'm proud of it. But that was kind of my collecting journey. And now I just kind of, I love to collect books as well. I'm a big reader. I love, buying books, reselling books. I bought a couple of really nice ones when I was overseas in England, got some nice exclusives, and got to bring them back here. My luggage was it was almost overweight, but we weren't, so it's good. My collecting journey as it started as a kid, and I just kind of merged my love of collecting and my love of fandom and being, a huge nerd into one. And that's kind of, now I'm here today getting to do it for a living. So I'm very blessed.
I love that. And you know what I love that is, like, your story is similar to a lot of our stories in a sense that we all kind of collected something, right? If you really think about it, everyone's a collector in some way or fashion, depending what they're hoarding around them, whether they believe it or not, or whether they notice it or not. And I love the Beanie Baby stories, by the way. They're going to come back and value everybody, but that's an inside joke.
I sold all mine. I know. I donated all mine, I'm pretty sure, when I was a teenager. I was like, my heart could let them go, and I donated them. But I'm like, oh, maybe I should have held on to a couple.
I have one, and believe it or not, his name was Ty, and it was a Beanie Baby that my uncle's girlfriend gave me, and it was like a lucky Beanie Baby. And no matter where this rabbit went with me, like, I always had good luck in the vehicle because it was to keep me safe. And I still have that Beanie Baby somewhere, and I always left it in the back of my windshield.
Yeah, the little
You know which one
brown
I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it's so faded, like sunburnt, but I still have it, right? You know what I mean? It's just something that you'll cherish.
Yeah.
And it's in a box somewhere, but yeah, I
No,
just remember.
I think
Beanie
it's
Babies.
I think it's in our daughter's room on her
Okay.
stand. I think she took it.
Yeah, and like, we're a collectibles family. Like, anywhere I go, there's a collectible laying around the house. Like, there's never an amount of toys anywhere around here you can't find. So
Yep.
stop it.
No, it's good stuff.
No, it is good stuff. So now that we've kind of gotten to your collecting journey right here, you're working with VeVe. It says right here that you're the campaign manager for comics specifically. So let's kind of dive into the comics a little bit. And now all of us, either you're a comic head to where you're an expert in the knowledge history and you know page for page, or you know covers, right? Everyone's kind of a different collector. And I kind of gave you a little backstory of me, and for the rest of the audience watching, I started really collecting comics heavily during the 90s when Image came to be. In fact, I got to brag right here. In fact, I'm going to show you guys. I just purchased this from Fanable today. And this was the comic that started it all, right? For Image, is Youngblood right here. Shout out to Vegan.
Shout out Vegan.
I've been hunting this comic, and I could have bought this on eBay, right? But like, I've been hunting this comic for a very long time. I remember when I tried to buy this comic, Zoe, it was sold out, and I had to settle for the second print, which was the one with the gold borders that faded, and I could never ever find a raw copy back in the 90s. And so, fast forward, I'm like in my 40s, I'm able to get this on Fanable. This is something I was hunting for. And I just love it, right? Because it brings me back to my childhood. And that was my whole point about showing that. It's like, that specific comic kind of like really invigorated me to collect, because after that Spawn released, right? I believe it was Youngblood, and Spawn came after that. And then I think Wildcat, something of that sort. Yep. And so I used to just go nuts on these comics. Savage Dragon is my favorite hero. I really love that storyline. I love that Larson pretty much wrote the whole thing. If you really read the book, there's some crazy stuff that happens in that book because it's generational, right? You see the dragon grow. He even like punches like the Satan in the face in one episode. It's crazy, but that is my favorite comic. And Image was kind of what got me into it. I'm a big DC fan as well. Batman, Superman. I kind of gravitate more to DC than the Marvel side, although I do like Marvel stuff. But for you specifically, who do you gravitate more? Are you more of an amalgam per se, and you like them both? What's your flair, and what kind of got you into comics?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in New Zealand, again, we kind of just had what we had. So we didn't really necessarily have comic book stores or even really access to comic books. But what I did have access to was the local library. What they had there were graphic novels. So I sort of started with the Asterix and Obelix, the Tintins. I have very many fond memories of me and my brother just taking out like 20 each, which was the maximum, and just sitting in the living room, just like, it was the one of the only things we got along when we were kids with was reading Asterix and Obelix. And I ended up going to Belgium with him a couple of years ago, and we went to the Tintin Museum. It was very full circle, which was amazing. So that's kind of how I guess I started in graphic novels. I've always been like a reader, like a traditional book reader. I've always loved reading. And I think I've always loved graphic novels because I'm very, I like to be creative and I'm really arty. So it's kind of a nice marrying of the two. But there weren't really a lot of places that I could get access to those. When I could was kind of in my early 20s when I had some extra money, and ebooks were a real big thing. And then suddenly the doors opened to graphic novels, comic books, so I started getting into, and I sort of came into superheroes the like normie way through the MCU. I loved X-Men, and as a kid, I loved, watching those, even though, they're kind of cringy now. I loved Wolverine and those films. I loved superhero movies. I loved superhero content. Any TV show with powers, I was like, that's cool. And then, dragged all my friends to all of the Avengers movies, and, had the Petzl case, which I've still got lying around somewhere. I've just moved house, so all my stuff is sort of everywhere. But I was, I found a picture of when I was a teenager. I had these black and white, Marvel comic strip leggings. I was like, damn, I was cool as a teenager. Like, I don't have those anymore. Like, that's dope. I'd wear those today. So that's kind of how I guess I got into comics, was sort of like through my love of reading, my love of the MCU. And then suddenly I had access to, thanks to the internet, access to comic books, and graphic novels. So I sort of obviously zoned in on what I was really into, which is Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider. And in this job, I've only been here for about 3 or 4 months now, but thanks to the amazing community of VeVe, I've really gotten a crash course, because I sort of came in going, hey, I've got skills for the job, I've got passion and interest for this, but I'm not, just being transparent, I'm not like a comic book expert per se. Now I would say I've got, you know, quite a bit of knowledge just because I've had an amazing crash course from some of the VeVe team and the community on artists, artworks, variants, why that's important. So now I've got like I just bought some Chrissy Zulo stickers that arrived. I put on my PC. You know, I'm really getting into the artists now. I'm like, I love Peach Momoko Ultimate X-Men. I need all of those. Runaways. I loved that TV show, so I've got to get the, you know, the Runaways comics and read those. So that's kind of where I've been in. I also really love the sort of traditional graphic novels, like when we release, for example, from American Mythology, some 4 volumes. If I see, you know, a series that sort of piques my interest, or I'm like, well, that's cool. I just enjoy stories as well as much as art. So it's really I love, and I had a background in working in esports and digital communities. So I sort of get, you know, I instantly was like, oh yeah, Discord, I get that. Like I'm in there, I'm chatting to the team, I'm chatting to people. And it's really just been amazing. Now I feel like I've still got a lot to learn, but I'm learning every day, and I'm just starting to get even more and more passionate about, you know, comic books and what we do. So that's really helped. And it's, you know, just doing the job, working with our publishers has been a pleasure, and it's awesome. And I love that, you know, I get to help, you know, give comic books a bit more love on VeVe, and I'm excited to see what we do. So yeah, that was my long-winded spiel about what I'm into and why.
No, that's cool. That's cool. In fact, your story is similar to my daughter in a sense that so my daughter wasn't really into graphic novels. In fact, if it wasn't for VeVe, she probably would have never been into anime. I'm going to say it that way, D, because what got her into like graphic novels and anime and also writing her own stories was we got her into VeVe Comics, and the VeVe Comics ended up getting her into collecting physical comics. And for like, I think a year and a half, she would collect, and we would spend one day out of the week as a family and read a book. And I remember the run that I would read with the family. It was Action Comics 1050. I think I did it from 1050 to like 1062 or something like that. And then it you know, teenagers grow up, it got very old, and she got out of it. But when she stopped collecting comics, she got into anime, and she's so into anime now she's writing, and she never was into any of that until we got her into like digital stuff. She was into the Mermacornos and certain comics on VeVe that got her into comic collecting. Her favorite hero is Punchline, as well as Gwen Stacy.
Gwen
Those two.
Stacy.
Yeah.
Yep, same. That's my girl. I love Gwen Stacy. I have a little Lego keychain of Gwen Stacy. She's like one of my favorites. So yeah,
And
Ghost
she loves
Rider.
Demon Slayer, by the way.
Nice. Yes, I got my Demon Slayer pops right there. I just got
Awesome.
into Demon Slayer as well. I got my Nezuko. I got my Tashiro, and I got Sasha from Attack on Titan as well there. But I was really into manga as a kid. Like again, you kind of just got what you got at the library. So I read like Peach Story or Peach Girl, like Out of or Peach Friends, something. The English translation was a bit, you know, hey, but I would just get whatever volumes I could get. So I'd read volume 4, and then I'd go back to the library. Oh, we got volume 2. So I very much read it out of order, and it didn't really make sense. But I just loved the art. I loved, and since I was like 6 years old, was obsessed with Cardcaptor Sakura, still am to this day. And you know, anime and manga was just really my cup of tea. So again, graphic novels, it just all came together. It's just like different bits of what I liked kind of led me to other things, which led me to other things, which led me to. It's cool that anime is cool now, because back in my day when I was a teenager, anime was not cool. But I love that it's cool now, and the kids are down with anime. I'm like, yes, full circle.
You know, you're right about that. Anime, comics, even like pop culture. I mean, it's kind of strange, right? I'm saying this because I grew up in the 80s. Through 80s through 90s is when I noticed the shift between like it being cool to not being cool. By the way, don't mind the diesel. I have neighbors across the street. They're Filipinos. I love them, but they have a bunch of cars they work on. So you might hear them from time to time.
No stress.
But where was I getting at with this? Basically, I kind of lost my train of thought because of the diesel truck that passed by.
That's
Slider, go to you.
No.
No, that's
Welcome
cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's a really similar story to, I guess, you know, like a lot of people that, you know, come in here and stuff, like, you know, collecting something when you're a kid. One question I have for you is you're into covers, right? That's what I've heard.
I
So
like
who modern artists, who do you like? Lisner, Perillo, like Frizen, Mark Spears, like who's your favorite like modern cover artist?
Um, I like Peach, obviously, that's a given. Chrissy Zullo again, I think her art is just fun and bubbly. I kind of like all the cutesy girly stuff because I am a cutesy girly as well as being a bit of a nerd. Who else was I looking at? I could check my search history, but before I went away, I was deep diving on covers and seeing if I could go to any cover shops in London. But I've been learning, slowly learning. Um, the J. Scott Campbell stuff is cool. That stuff's been fun to see a lot of that stuff come out with our Marvel releases. Um, who else? I mean, Alex Ross is a legend, obviously. Everyone likes Alex Ross, but I could definitely find some more. But those are the ones that are on the top of my head. Again, I'm still learning. I'm still getting up to speed. But I typically, if I like the look of a cover, I'll be like, oh, that's cool. Like I'm a big into art and creative. So if I just like the look of it, it's less about who did it and more like, oh, that captured my attention. I really like that. But I'm learning slow and steady.
Yeah, definitely. That's how I am with covers. That's pretty much what I collect. So I'm kind of the same. It's not so much about the artist, but it's definitely about like if the cover like kind of like speaks to you and there's just something
Yeah,
about it, then yeah, I definitely grab those like on VeVe and stuff. So yeah, it's really cool. Dynamite too. I'm glad they came on because they just have some awesome artists with their
they
stuff. So
do. They
yeah.
do. They're awesome. It's yeah, it's I've been tuning into the drop shows because they're at a time that isn't like 2 o'clock in the morning New Zealand time. So the team do a weekly drop show in the Discord. And I try and jump on there every couple of weeks and they break down all the covers. And so that's kind of been my crash course on covers, artists, etc. Which is great because I can just tune in, say hey, because I know what we're dropping. So I kind of learn and we kind of guess what people will be into. But it's really cool to see the sort of live feedback, see what people are pulling for, see what people get in their drops, etc. It's been amazing to kind of be right into it, and I love the sense of community and connection immediately. I've made my lifelong friends on the internet and overseas who have been some of my best friends for over 10 plus years, 15 years. So it's amazing to come into a space and just instantly be like, oh yeah, I get this. I see the love, I see the community, I see the connection through being passionate about something that you love, which is comics or collecting. So it's been I feel very much at home here in VeVe, whether it be with the team or with the community or chatting to the mods. It's been awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome, and I think digital kind of like gives you that ability to like be part of the community and share, because I know as like collecting since I was like little and stuff, it's like my family collected, like my dad collected back in like the 40s, and and then my brother's like 21 years older than me, so he grew up with my dad having him collect, and then years later then I grew up collecting and stuff. But besides like my family, it's like there's not that many people that in real life that really like share that passion, or you can like show off your stuff. It's more difficult because then you got to invite them over and show them your room or whatever. And yeah, just digital, like that's what I felt when I first came in years ago, was the community and everything. And I think it's one of the best parts of VeVe and the whole digital space. So definitely.
Oh, for sure. Like growing up, being a teenager, like I connected with people IRL through like the music scene. Like, I mean, I had like a big swoopy black like emo fringe with the big red streak in it. So people were kind of like, oh, emo. And I think even today, like you can like elder emos, we kind of clock each other. And I've gone to a couple of
Elder emo.
gigs. Me and my elder emos, like you kind of look at someone, you go, elder emo, like they're still a little bit alternative. And you kind of like, oh. Which is really cool. And I've still going to gigs with one of my best friends that I met in high school because she asked me, hey, who cuts your hair? I was like, oh, I do. She was like, oh, amazing. What music do you like? Asking Alexandra. I was like, I love Asking Alexandra. We were just best friends instantly. So, but in terms of nerd culture, geek culture, that was kind of like, hush hush. It was kind of like looked down as a bad thing. So I kind of felt like I had to be like a secret. Like, yeah, I'm an emo. I'm not the nerd. Like, I'm not the geek who watches Doctor Who every Sunday at 6 a.m. through a live stream. And then blog and then goes on Twitter and live tweets about it, and then goes on Tumblr and reblogs all the gifs from the episode. Like, no, that's not me. But now it's kind of cool now. But I would connect with people online for that. I had sort of like my band people IRL and my music people IRL, and then I had my nerds online. So it was I think even today it's just so good that we have all these communities online that people can find like their tribe and find their people when they maybe don't necessarily have that IRL. And now some of those people are now I consider my best friends, like my best real life friends as well, because I've gotten to travel and meet them. And yeah, it's been awesome. Some like know my mum, they're like Facebook friends with my mum, because they've, I would like video chat with them when I was a teenager, and like we were all just teenagers talking about geeky stuff. And my mum would be like, who's that? I'd be like, oh, that's so and so in Canada. And she'd be like, oh, amazing, hi. And now they're Facebook friends. So yeah, it's really wonderful how the online community connects people like that. And does some good.
I love that, like, because we're in the digital realm, that we can connect like this. Like right now, you're in New Zealand, we're in Hawaii, Fro's, wherever Fro's at, and then Slider is hidden in another universe. But we're able to do this type of stuff, right? And like, I love the fact that you kind of told us that at least you were able to connect with people online. When I grew up and I was collecting, and you guys kind of know when I started collecting, it was in the 90s. We didn't have the internet. We had a corded phone, right? So
hey, I remember those. I remember those. I'm not that young.
I'm sure you had the buttons though. I had the rotary dial, right? But
my grandma had the rotary dial, which is how I learned at my grandma's house.
Yeah, when it took 5 minutes to dial a number, right?
What color was it? Was it yellow?
No, I had the slime line green phone.
Oh, we had the yellow one.
I had the pink one. Like a baby pink. It was probably faded pink.
Before you had to rent that from the phone company, right? You couldn't go and buy that at a store. You had to actually rent the phone from the phone company.
And then you'd have to like dial into like the network, the switchboard. And then, like someone's mum would be like, hi, who do you want to talk to? Oh, this person. And then they'd like plug you in.
But yeah, no, I grew up in that time, so we used to walk to our friends' houses. But what I'm trying to get at is, it wasn't cool to be a geek. Your nerdum couldn't come out, you know what I mean? And so our sanctum, where we used to hide, was our comic book store. And funny enough, our comic book store was, and I've said this a bunch of times, our comic book store was actually in a video store, so it was kind of a mix of two. Rent some VHS tapes and then buy some comic books. But we never had a place where we could like really indulge in our fandoms. In fact, when I used to indulge in my fandoms in school, I used to get teased on, bullied, picked on. So I couldn't do that. Now it's different. Kids can wear their animes and they can represent Batman and Superman. And it is cool to like wear this kind of stuff at school because nobody judges anymore. Because in the end now, because of these connections we've made and because the internet's just so wide spectrum, people are allowed to express themselves better by this connectivity. That's kind of what I was going to get at. So I really love the progression of what you told us here. And there's some synergies in your story. Fro, anything you want to add to the conversation?
Wow. A lot to take in. Like Zoe, thank you for hanging out with us on Aloha Friday. Very nice to hear your story and how everything started for you. And gosh, you talk about being a reader and you love books. Like, what was the book that started it all for you, that just got you into reading?
Great question. I remember when I was the earliest book I remember. I mean, my mum was a literacy teacher for all of my life. She started as a nurse, and then long story. But she's big on literature, big on reading. So she would just read to me, and I started primary school, which is like a elementary school, being able to read already. But I remember the earliest one I remember her reading me was the first Harry Potter. And then when the second one came out, my grandma got it for me. I remember reading it in a day. So big into Harry Potter as a kid, was very
Mm.
much the book. And then I just loved to read. I just enjoyed escaping into stories. Again, I'm a bit of an introvert, so anytime I could just sit in my room and read my books, going to the library just was my happy place. Would go after school once a week and, just check my books out. And reading was very much, my mum loved to read. My dad's, reads quite a bit as well. So it was just very much a thing that was encouraged in our household. And, always welcome to go to the library. My mum was always happy to take us because she knew how important that was just for, having those skills, those literacy skills, which you don't realize as a kid, especially but you can take for granted. And my mum, as I was growing up, she would teach literacy and numeracy to adult students who, for whatever reasons in their life that were often circumstances outside of their control, they hadn't been able to get those key literacy skills. And now that they were adults, they were, wanted to come back to school and get those literacy skills to be able to go on and get their nursing degrees or, higher education. So that, like, just being able to read and those skills were really important to my family and to my mum. So yeah, and then when I was a bit older, it was His Dark Materials. I now have a His Dark Materials tattoo, which is just my favorite book of all time. I'm very excited for the prequel, the third book, to come out in October. I'm so excited. Oh, that's this month now. I was about to say next month. But yeah, I love to read. I try and read, I say I try to read 40 books. It's probably more like 20. But I'm always trying to read books, at least 20 books a year, just because I love it. It's just fun. It's just another way of consuming media. And I love to be entertained. So, I love it.
No, thank you for that. I totally agree, and I love that you love to read too. Like, a lot of people have collectibles behind them and all. I got books.
I got books. I have collectibles, but I also have books. It's not nearly as much because, again, I've just moved house, so I need to unpack all of my books. I have tubs and tubs of books that I've got in the garage. Oh, I've got my His Dark Materials collection right next to me, actually, still in a box, but I've got it here. So
look at you.
That's awesome.
yeah.
No, I totally get it. I above this row of books, I got another row of books, and I totally get it. Reading, I can agree with what you're saying. It's kind of like it's adventurous. It gets you kind of out of, like, before social media, I dive into a book and I get lost in like a 300 to 500 page book that'll consume me for days. And that was kind of like my escape from reality. So I just read to read. I ran out of books to read. Encyclopedia Britannica. I went down a deep, dark rabbit hole. Like, that was like in the 80s. That was bad. But yeah, like, I totally get it. So I agree. Reading, love it. But I'm glad you brought up Harry Potter. Who doesn't love Harry Potter? Come on. Like, you get a couple of pages, you're hooked, right?
Yeah, even my partner, who isn't a big reader, he listened to the audiobooks, and that was kind of he reads like one book a year. It's usually like a musician's like autobiography, which is fine. Hey, he's reading something, and that's what he's into. He's big into music. So yeah, I'm like, hey, as long as you're reading, even if it's one book a year, good for you. He's it doesn't have the greatest attention span, but he's keen on a book if it's about a musician, and I'm like, that's enough for me.
I can get along. I'll probably get along with him just fine. My attention span is about the size of a peanut. So
yeah. He's into gaming too as well, though. That's kind of how we connected. I met him through my friend who I met through music, who was into gaming, and yeah.
We have an associate that kind of collabs with us. We call him the comic guy, and he's always telling us, read your books. So for me, at least, I may not read it because, when I was young, I used to read books all the time. Like, when I watch a movie, I would go find the novel and read it after that, just to kind of do the comparable. But now it's like my biggest excuse is I read comic books. You know what I mean? So
it's something. It counts. Yeah. It counts. It's something. It's still reading.
Short reading, right?
Yeah, it's still reading. And my partner always says, I need to read more. And I'm like, the amount of times I see you on the World of Warcraft Wikipedia scrolling through pages and pages of like how to get this new item or the lore behind. And I'm like, you don't actually realize how much you read. I either see him on Reddit reading comments and reading threads, usually about RuneScape or World of Warcraft, or I see him on the wikis reading about, and I'm like, you actually read a lot. You just don't correlate that because it's not a physical book. And he went, oh, yeah, I guess I do read a lot. I'm like, you do. It's all words. It counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah when. Oh, sorry. You know.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I wasn't gonna call on you yet because I know you're doing the transition. So
Yeah. So like for me, when I was growing up, like my mom, she bought me a lot of books because that's how she taught me how to read and speak English. And so once she did that and I picked up the English language, I was literally reading everything, like from the back of the cereal boxes, like when I clean our bathroom and all the lotions. I used to read all the ingredients in all the stuff. Like I would, like as I'm cleaning, I would pick it up, read it, and then put it in its spot. And yeah, so I was like reading everything, and that's kind of how like I also escaped too once I found like a book that I really wanted to immerse myself in. Like my my head was always in books. Like I would go and hang out with my friends and stuff, but it was always books. Like they would always ask me, "Oh, what book are you reading now?" And I would tell them, but they didn't like. They were just asking just to ask.
Yeah, I would get pulled out of the school library sometimes at lunchtime. They'd be like, "There you are, come hang out." And
Yeah,
I'd
it's
be like,
like,
"But I'm reading my
yeah.
book."
It's like, oh, is it time for like the next class? I'm on my lunch break.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my friends would
it's
be like, "Why don't you want to spend lunchtime with me?" I'm like, "It's not personal. I'm just really enjoying my book."
right.
it's like, I'm at a good part, you know.
Yeah, you can't like stop. Like even like in the next chapter, you have to keep going because you don't want to be left at a cliffhanger, you know. And so yeah, even when we got dropped off at the library in the summer when my mom had to go to work, I would just be in my corner. My brothers would be in their corner, whatever they were reading or looking at pictures or whatever, and I would just like have a pile of books, and we would go there in the morning, and she would pick us up after in that late afternoon, and I would like have my books read. So I was like,
Yep.
I don't know, I was like such a dork, but I love books. I can say
Yeah.
that I love books. Yeah, reading is fundamental.
Yeah, and one thing too is reading will definitely keep your mind sharp because you guys sound just like my dad, and he's 85, and he reads so much still. It's crazy. Like I pick up books for him from the library sometimes because they don't get out very much anymore, and I picked up probably like 20 books for him, and he reads like, westerns and adventure and stuff like that. They're paperbacks, but they're like 300 page books. And I remember one time I dropped him off to him. And like 2 weeks later, my mom calls up and she's like, "You need to go get your father some more books." And I'm like, "I just got him 20 books. What are you talking about?" And he's like 82 at this point, and I mean, he read through every single one of them. And yeah, so I often do a run to the library for him to get books. And like, he's still reading and going. And, I think that's really kept his mind sharp, at this point, because he still does, all his own bills, balances his checkbook, does everything pretty much that he used to do. And it's just it's crazy. But I think
Yeah.
that's definitely for with reading, and even he says it too, that really keeps his mind active and stuff. So yeah, it definitely has major benefits when you get older too. So
Yeah, I mean, I remember being in primary school, and now it's school librarian would do these presentations about here's your brain when you're reading a book, and here's your brain when you're watching a television show, like these scientific studies. And we were all like, wow, like you see all the neurons popping when you're reading, and whether or not it was actually true or it was just library propaganda, I don't know. I bought into it. I was like, that's so cool. Yeah,
So for
that's
the
awesome
TV
to hear,
part, did they
though.
have an egg frying in a frying pan or something like that? And
yeah,
that's why
right.
Oh
the
no,
your
I think
brain.
it was like a brain scan, like a CAT scan, like a
Oh,
and it was just the neurons were like there was way less white, like way less neurons firing off, and we were like, whoa, a brain. We were like 8 years old and just thought it was like the
brain.
craziest thing we'd ever seen.
Oh, that's
That's
funny.
awesome, Slider. I love that, like, your dad's is just a big reader still. That's awesome. And you're totally right about it
Yeah.
keeping your mind sharp. My mum, like I said, she would work with adults that didn't have their literacy skills, and quite often they were from marginalized or poorer communities. And she would say, it's amazing what she now lives in a small town, and she said she's retired now, but she offers up like services. She said it's amazing how things we take for granted is that someone that doesn't quite know how to fill out a form to get a driver's license, or they need assistance, or someone that is maybe dyslexic and nobody's been able to diagnose them as dyslexic because they didn't have the resources in their remote rural schools. So it's definitely not something we take for granted, and she's always been like instilling that into us, like reading is so important, because if you don't have these skills, or you're not able to access these skills, or you don't have a local library, or you don't have a school that encourages reading and has a librarian that stands up in the front of the school and says, this is your brain on TV and this is your brain on books, it really does have lifelong, it can have lifelong, not consequences, but ramifications. And so she was very passionate about literacy at all ages, and also kind of destigmatizing illiteracy in adults as well. And I'm very, very lucky that I got to witness that as a young person, and have that, kind of, because it's very easy to be like, oh, everyone can read, everyone can spell. Like if you don't, you're just having that eye opening, like actually not as many people are as privileged to have that access. So that was,
True.
a lesson that I still carry with me. I'm very fortunate that she both encouraged reading and also explained that not everyone was as passionate because they didn't have access to that. So yeah.
Yeah. Audiobooks are narrated by R2D2.
No, I love audiobooks. I never used to be, but I'm team audiobooks. It counts as reading, and I have some favorite audiobook narrators as well. That I love. Whenever I'm listening, I'm like, oh, it's Julia Wheeler. Yes, turn it up.
So
I
I got a
haven't
question
gotten
for
quite into that yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say that. That's all. Go ahead, Nano.
No, I'm bad, Zoe. I always cut people off, so that's my thing. So I do
I
apologize.
chat
if
too
I cut
much.
anyone off.
Cut me off.
So-
I keep yapping. I talk in circles, as you guys can tell.
I already told you I'm Portuguese, so but no, I wanted to ask you about writing because of the reading, right? Does that make you also inspired to write? And so when I read books, and believe it or not, I read The Hunt for Red October. That's a long book, guys. I mean, a Tom Clancy. It's a long book. So what I'm trying to get at is when you read a story, it inspires you after that to want to write something or emanate a character or emanate something of your own. And so like a good example is today I'm going to show a preview of something that really I wrote a story back when I was 13 or 15. Slider, whenever the TV show Mantis came out, that's kind of where I got the inspiration for the character that for Forever Man. But I wrote a story about him, and I wrote other stories about him. I wrote a story about myself. I used to work in a supermarket. I was a bag boy. I wrote a story about my workplace and all my coworkers. I wrote a story about my crush. But I would have never done that if I wasn't into reading books, comic books. I would have never done any of that. And so my question to you is, because of reading, does that make you a writer? And if you did write something, kind of give us an example of what you've created.
Yeah. Yes, you're bang on. So one of the online communities where I met my best friends and still talk to them to this day was an online writing community, and
Nice.
various different online writing forums. And it just, I always like to write little stories, like, when when I was like 13 when Twilight came out, so vampires were the coolest thing. So I was writing vampire stories and stuff like that. And then I found these online communities where other people like to write, and we could write together, or we could, we
Yes.
could work on, like, I write a chapter and you write a chapter, or my character can be here and your and like these collaborative stories, which then got me into Dungeons and Dragons, and that's a whole other story. But that changed my life, really did. I'm so glad I was bored on a random New Year's Eve when I was 15, Googled like online writing RPG sites, and got into that because that changed my life. And I also saw my school, my English grades drastically improved, and my writing skills drastically improved just by getting back into reading and storytelling. I would do NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, where you try and write a novel in a month. I didn't quite get there. I wrote like half a novel, which is still sitting in my drafts, which is very much dated for its time. It was very much written in 2016 by a 17-year-old. Or no, how old am I? 19. Yeah, very much, that will stay in the drafts forever. But I am kind of like sort of working on a novel, not really. I've written like maybe 5,000 words. But I'm not, I don't know, I still need to draft it, but I'm always writing. I love to write for work and for pleasure. So yeah, you got me.
Well, I bring that up because like besides the fact with the character that I'm gonna show today, I wrote a story about myself in my workplace, and essentially and I'll try to be really quick about this. The backdrop is basically you're in a cash register area, and it's kind of like the last day on Earth, and they don't know about it, right? And so everyone's working, no one really knows what's going on, and the store manager really is from the future, and it's actually me. And I come back to the past to stop an event that happens in that store. And because of that event that happens in the store, that's kind of what happens in the past to where things are not right. And so I come back to change that. It's a very complex story, but it has to do with the people that I work with, the girl that I had a crush on at the time, and kind of like a love story. And so and I really worked on that story. I don't know how I ever bring that story to real life, but that was one of the first stories I ever created when I was young. It was called Another Day. And it basically means like to try to save yourself to live another day. And I wrote that story. I wrote Forever Man. I wrote a story about these kids in an island, which is the NFT project that I tried to launch last year. And I really loved writing. And then I stopped. And then I'm going to be very honest. When I got back into VeVe, I got back into comic books. I got back into reading. I went back to writing. And so I wrote, I have 3 series, Lost Tides, which is an underwater adventure. And I'm a big Star Trek geek. So then instead of like doing like space, I'm in Hawaii. Why not make a ship about people underwater? And I was a big submarine fan, Hunt for Red October. So it had to be a Los Angeles class submarine. And so all these little details is in that story. There's a story. Dee's read it. It's actually, we've got frames all kind of like drawn out for it to be a comic book. And so this story is a comic book, as well as another story. It's called The Rider. It's an alien invasion. And I'm just trying to get at the fact that from the comic books, it really got me into writing, which then wanted me to make these things come to reality. Because with AI now, right, you can actually try to make your dreams come to reality. And that's kind of what I've been doing here is like the writing is now kind of coming out into the screen, and I'm just kind of having fun with it. And so I just wanted to know if you're kind of in that same boat. It sounds like you are.
Yeah, I'm always trying to write a book. By write, I mean like I'll make a playlist and I'll listen to it and I'll think about the scenes in my head. Actually, getting it out on paper is a different story. I'm also not very good at plot. It sounds like you're amazing at coming up with concepts and plots. That's sort of where I struggle. I really like doing characters. I like to get in the character's head. Love characterization. Love writing relationships between characters. Can I write a plot though? Not a great one. Not a good one. But sometimes it's just the joy of putting something down on paper and having a friend read it and be like, oh, this is cool. Just kind of getting it out of your brain is kind of half the
Yeah.
fun already. And I read this great quote the other day by, I think it was the author that won the New Zealand Book Award last year, because I used to work at a bookstore. So I was very much in the know about that. And he said something about how word count, because that's a big thing, especially in like text-based, writing communities. It's all about word count, word count, word count. And he said, if you could write 400 words a day, but you actually haven't written 400, you've written 800. Because of those 400 words, there would have been, as you're writing, a word that you were going to use, and then you went, oh no, I'll use this one. And I was like, wow, that's so true. Like wow, like that really like stuck with me. I was like, damn, that's really good. Because sometimes it's like, oh, I've not written anything, or I've only written 100 words, or this, I only wrote a paragraph, or I'm getting writer's block and I haven't, I don't know, it's just quite a nice way of putting it. I was like, oh wow, that's really nice. Maybe I should open up my Google Doc again and start giving it a go.
Yeah, it's weird. You'll be walking down the street and you're like, that'd be so perfect for that story that I kind of just dropped off the face of the earth for like 2 months, and then it's in your head, right? But what I like
Yep.
to do is I like to muse a lot, and I muse a lot with AI. I'll talk with AI. I say like, this is what's going on. This is my format, just to kind of like give me ideas, and then I'll do vision boards. I'm a big vision board person. I'll
Yep.
even
Love a
draw things
Pinterest.
out. Yes, or just scenes or anything like that, like a scene board. I have to do every scene, everything that you see from your little intro. There were vision boards for that. You know what I mean? Like
I love
the
it.
idea of I wanted New Zealand in there. It didn't really come out the way that I envisioned it for the production side, but it was close enough. But everything has to start with a vision board because I have to have an A to B to figure out where we're going. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm big on making a playlist, making a Pinterest board, just, visualizing if I can, because that's kind of how I get my inspiration. I get bursts of inspiration. It's usually from listening to a song, and I'm like, ooh, you know
yeah.
what this song would be really good on? And I've got all these different playlists that are like code named in different colors, but they make sense to me. I know what they're about. So
No, I feel you there. I've been yapping too long. D, go ahead.
Well, you guys are talking about like writing stuff or like writing your own books and stories. So I'm not like that. It's like completely the opposite. But as in story wise, but I found that I do more so of like writing poems kind of thing, like poetry.
gorgeous.
Yeah, right, Mr. Poetry Man over here. I have like books, like just when I have like random thoughts in my brain, I just write them down. It's easier now because everyone always has their phone with them, so you just write one of the notes to yourself, send it to yourself. But back before technology and phones with us all the time, whatever piece of paper or napkin I found, I would like scribble whatever was in my mind because I would just forget. And like we moved to this house a while ago, but like going back in my closet and just kind of seeing like what can I just like toss out. I found this composition book, or was it composition? Like one of those spiral ones,
Yeah.
that's like falling apart at the seams. And I have like random stuff. I'm like, wow, this was like really good writing.
Yeah.
Or like I remember feeling that way and writing what I wrote. And it just takes you back like to have like such an impact on myself, my younger self, to write that, to like just
Yeah.
get what I was feeling out. Like maybe I couldn't like talk to someone about it, and it just like came out, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. Maybe I should like submit it to like, I don't know, poetry.com or whatever.
Yeah, or
But
like a
then I'm like,
journal or
I
like
don't know.
yeah,
But then
absolutely.
I've gone on like other sites and read like people's poems and stuff. I'm like, wow, this is so good. Like I can't put my stuff on here.
No, see,
It's
that's the
so
trap
good.
we fall into is we think, because
Yeah.
I used to do the same, especially being on all these writing communities, I'd be like, oh God, this just so good. Like I kind of almost don't want to write with this person or
Hmm.
write or post my stuff on this because they're just so good. But
Yeah.
I think I was in like a teenage mindset as well, but that's kind of why I kind of was like, who am I writing for? Am I writing for an audience? Am I getting gratification from an audience seeing and liking it? Previously, yeah, and sometimes occasionally I am. It's always nice to hear good things about, what you've made
Yeah.
or what you've put your heart and soul into. But I think if I was like, do I actually enjoy doing this? Am I doing it for me? I think as I've gotten older, a lot of my mindset has shifted from I don't have enough time, I don't have enough energy or as much as I used to. Am I enjoying what I'm doing here? Yes, great, keep doing it. Am I happy? Yeah. Am I not? Because sometimes I'll be at a party or like a friend is having a dinner or something, and I'll be like, I'm actually really tired and I want to go to bed. And I'll be like, all right, guys, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed. You guys have a great rest of your night. I'm going to bed. And sometimes I just go to bed because I'm just, and they just know that I'm like that because I'm like, I don't have enough hours in the day to be wasting my time doing stuff I don't want to do. Sometimes I got to inconvenience myself with people around me and the people that I care about because, that's
Hmm.
sort of giving back. But a lot of the time, especially when it comes to hobbies, I'm like, who am I trying to impress? No one. Like, I'm not the
Yeah.
teenager anymore who's afraid to put a Doctor Who pin on her bag because she might get made fun of. Like, no, like,
Yeah.
I like what I like and I'm
Bow ties
I'm
are cool.
enjoying it. Bow ties
Bow
are
ties are
cool, and so are
cool.
feathers. But yeah, I was just like, actually, I like writing this for me, and I think I did it. I'll post something that I think I did a good job at. And that's in and of it in itself. If other people enjoy it, then that's great, and that always like gives you the good warm fuzzies. But if not, that's okay. I'm still happy enough and proud enough to have submitted. So I say do it, because if you do get picked, someone will have read that and been like, yeah, damn, this is cool. I want to publish this. So that's already one person. That's the person
Yeah.
that matters, is the person that picks it to publish it. So I say go for it. Sometimes, you can read something and be like, oh, it might not have been good. But especially if you're looking at something with fresh eyes and be like, oh, actually, this is really decent. Like I
Yeah.
say celebrate that. I say celebrate it.
I'm gonna do it. when we
Hell
get
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Put it in. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep us updated.
Oh
When
boy,
it gets
yeah.
published, because I know something is going to get published. I'm manifesting that. Let us know.
Let's go.
Oh.
Zoe, how are you doing on time? We want to be very respectful for your time. We fit an hour. How much more time do we have with you?
I could probably do another hour if you want to
Oh,
keep
look at
yapping,
that.
or I could do however long you guys want. I do have to go out and do some errands, but it's only 1 o'clock here, so I'm easy.
All right. I'm going to pass the baton to our co-hosts and see if they have any more questions for you. And then usually at the end, we have one last question that we let you ask all of us a question each, anything you want, except for social security numbers. We already told you that.
Again, I can't do anything with those. Now, can the
You'd be
audience
surprised.
maybe? I wouldn't even
Sell
know
it
where
in
to
the black
start.
market.
It wouldn't be worthwhile for me anyway, though. So, Slider, go ahead.
No, I just love that conversation because kind of like you, Hanano, actually somebody on the panel got me back into poetry because I wrote when I was younger, talking about English teachers and everything. My English teacher like really pushed me to write poetry when I was like in 8th grade. And I don't know, we started writing and then she started submitting stuff to contests and everything. And then I just kind of really got hooked into writing poetry. And, I like what Dee said, it's like, when you first start, it's, I always wrote poetry for me. Like, and like 90% of all the poems I have, which I have those notebooks full too. And yeah, they're like for me, but like she would like, get me to like submit some stuff. And, there was a couple of times in high school, it was actually like my junior year, they had like a big national like poetry contest. And the prize was like you get published, in like a coffee tabletop like poetry
Oh
book.
wow.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I ended up winning that contest, and they took 2 of my
Cool.
poems and put them in there.
Hell
And yeah,
yeah.
and then
A published
and
author. A published poet
yeah,
with us on the panel.
yeah. So and then that actually got me thinking. I actually grabbed one of my notebooks while you guys were talking, so I've got a poem if you want to
Oh.
hear it.
Let's go.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, this
Take
is
it
one
away.
this is one I actually wrote when I was still in high school. Okay, and it was about a crush that I had. So here we go.
Okay.
You know the words to say. You recite them day by day. The words to you are very clear. You cannot say them when she gets near. Your palms get sweaty. Your face gets red. The words are floating around in your head. Will the words you say be right? The same words you say night by night? Take the chance and you will see. The words you say will set you free. So there we go.
Awesome.
Amazing.
I love that
That was
slider.
gorge. Amazing. And like
That's
totally
awesome.
relatable. Like 3 lines in, I was like, yep, been there.
Yep. So and I know Fro is a poet on the panel too. That's why I said he
Yeah.
kind of got me back in because I saw him writing some poetry, and then I wrote a few about like VeVe, and it kind of like re-sparked it because I hadn't wrote in like years, probably since I was in college was the last time I really wrote. And yeah, so that kind of got me back in a little bit. So I've been writing, more here and there. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
That was awesome. That was excellent, Slider. I enjoyed that.
You got anything in your bag there, Fro?
Gosh, I just want to say that Slider loved it.
Thanks, man.
Chills, dude. Like it literally, anytime anyone reads poetry, it comes straight from their soul. It comes from their heart, because that's where it all begins, right? because
Yeah.
you don't.
Yep.
It's the emotions that get stirred for you to write, and you get pen to paper, and that's where it flows out, man. So for you to, I mean, that was what you said, college. So, dude.
Yeah, no, I wrote that one in high school. Yeah, that was one of the
Oh,
ones that
high school,
I wrote. Yeah.
dude. That, I mean, that's, yeah, like it's, you know, for someone to take the time out of the day to write down what they're feeling, thoughts going in their head, emotions swirling within, and just getting it out on paper. I mean, they say like pencil, it's just even the ink. Yeah, I mean that lasts longer than the longest memory. So I mean, gosh, dude, that's pretty deep. Like, I can dig it, and I got a story similar to yours. I mean, not to get too off the subject, but like when I was in the third grade, I wrote something that I thought was just me scribbling on paper, but my third grade teacher thought it was like the best thing since sliced bread, right? So
Mhm.
she pulls me aside and she's like, "Hey, Fro, I showed your poem to some of the other teachers, and a lot of the teachers thought that it was well enough to submit into whatever contest." And gosh, I was back in 80. What was it? 80. I can't remember. 80 something. So I'm dating myself, and yeah, it got published, and it was just literally I wrote about mice, just because I had a pet. We had like a pet, hamster, and I wrote about him, and I really thought it was just it's just a project. I get through it. I'm just gonna write down a few lines, and that's where it all started. Was I think I'm pretty good at this, and having a teacher tell me it was good enough to submit, I mean, that was kind of what sparked it all. It's a teacher that just really got me into reading, writing, and just opening that door, just to, just not to limit yourself. So, and a lot of my
Yep.
poetry is horrible. Like it's like it's trying. One does not simply find words that rhyme with Electra, right? So it's so bad.
So modest.
No,
So,
that's awesome.
and
It's the power of teachers, right? And the power, like teachers have such an impact on you.
your
I
mom.
didn't tell,
Yeah.
yeah, my mom, number one. And I was in high school and I was like writing online, obviously, but nobody except my parents knew that I was kind of doing this, and nobody knew I was a writer. And I had one teacher, um, we had a creative writing, you know, we call them internals, or I guess a project that we had to submit. And so I went, oh, okay, very quietly submitted it. And I remember afterwards she was talking to the class about like some of you like really could get like a really talented writers. And she kind of looked at me and like held my gaze for a little bit, and then like looked away, and like, because she would always address the class, and I knew she didn't say anything, and I think she knew that I didn't want to say anything, and she didn't want I still to this day don't really like people reading my work because I'm so like embarrassed. But it was just that look she gave me. Like she knew. She was like, I see you, and I see what you're, and she was amazing, Mrs. Bass. Like she's incredible. Shout out Mrs. Bass. And then I had an English teacher the following year. At that point I was just ready to leave school. I did not enjoy high school. But I had this teacher be like, oh, we're so worried about Zoe. She doesn't write any of her practice essays. And my parents were just like, leave her alone. She's teaching people how to write on the internet for fun. Like she's fine. Like talk to her English teacher from year 12. Like she's okay. She just doesn't want to write your book. Like it's a miracle she's even at school. Like because my best friend at the time would come to my house, park her car, and like drag me out of bed, make me get changed, have like a cup of tea with my mum while I was getting ready for school, and would drag me to school. And she'd like, you can't be late because then I'm going to be late, and then I'm going to get in trouble because she was a really good. And now she's a high school teacher at that school. And she always says to me,
Oh,
I've got a
wow.
Zoe in my class. I've got a Zoe in my class. She just looks at me like with the evil glares, and she doesn't want to be there. And I'm like, but thank God she is a teacher now, and she can identify the Zoes of her class, because you just need someone that isn't going to be like, not every student is going to be an amazing student. Some are really struggling, but have, these hidden talents. And it just takes one silent look from my teacher to be like, I see you. And I was like, oh, thanks. Thank you so much. The power of teachers, man. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah,
say
amazing.
something? Because I have a similar story that's not related to writing or anything like that, but this has to do in 7th grade. So 6th grade was awesome for me. I enjoyed it. I got to do rockets, solar cars, Renaissance fairs. I got to go take a trip to the volcano. My daughter's in 6th grade. She's doing the same thing this year. But when I went to 7th grade, that was kind of like your jump to high school type of prep.
Yeah.
And it frustrated me because like I had classes with none of my friends in there. I felt like that was like the year where I felt like I only hung out with my friends during recess. And so if you're not really with people in your class, you're kind of the loner. And so one class, the teacher really, he really focused on me, and it was music class. And I grew up with where this is a very musical household. There's I have every musical instrument downstairs. My dad's a musician. My mom's a dancer. She even knows dances from Aotearoa. So I grew up with music, but I never really got interested until like 7th grade in my ukulele class. And I remember, the teacher gave me the instrument, and I'm a person that I don't really know music technically, but I can hear sound, and I can tune I can tune a ukulele, and I've never was taught to tune it. My dog has
Yeah.
fleas. It was just in my head. So I
Same with
figured
my
out music.
partner. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something that's like, you hear sound and you kind of get it. And so I was one of those kids where I got it, and I got the ukulele like on the first day, and the teacher kept honing my skills. Like, you can do this, you can do that, play this song, play that song. I think within a month I was literally picking Jurassic Park, the whole orchestra and stuff like that.
Wow.
So, but that teacher really focused on me. And if I didn't spend time with that teacher, I don't think I would have gotten into music, and I don't think my creativity would have really taken off, because I don't know if you've been watching us before you came on the channel. Everything on this channel is music orientated because I love music so much. I love scores. I tell everyone all the time, I really wish I'd live with scores. Like, I would walk out of my house and I hear It's a Beautiful Morning. You'd see me with a strut in my step, stuff like that. And so music is a big thing to me. And that teacher, and I remember his name, I'll dox his name because I don't think anyone will be able to find him, Mr. K. Kauoha. And he spent time. He taught me the chords. It helped me get closer with my dad because he's a musician. With my friends, I taught other kids how to play. And then, unfortunately, after I think 6 months I had him, there was an incident in school and he got fired. And I was really bummed after that, because then they brought in a very technical teacher. Everyone had to learn My Dog Has Fleas. And I went from learning to basically I'm just reading stuff in a book.
I know that song.
Yeah, and you know exactly what teacher I'm talking about. But for those 6 months, it was so much fun. And shout out to teachers out there that really take the time to work with kids, because I was one of those kids where if you didn't take the time with me, I would have never picked up the instrument. I would have never tried to learn how to play music. I would have just put it down and said, I don't know how to do it. And he heard it in me, just taught me. And anyways, I just wanted to share that.
No, it's really similar. I went to a very, very large high school, a very good high school, but a very large high school. And it was very much, if you're not the tip of the top in academics, sports, there were just too many kids for them to give attention to. And I was really not that I realized, but as a teenager, I was really going through it. And all I needed was just one teacher in one of my classes, and thankfully I had one each year. That was just, and it was a very strict high school, very big on rules and silly rules. And I did not. My brother did great there, but I didn't thrive there. But because of the zoning laws and whatever, it was the only high school I could go to at the time. And I got through it, and I made lifelong friends. But it was just having a teacher look at me for 3 seconds of that year, and in a sea full of 3,000 plus kids, it's crazy how much just one moment or one part of time meant so much to me, especially because I was, and I hope that every you know, it's why I say to my friend who's now a high school teacher, and I'm like, I hope every kid that, you know, all the Zoes that you see, you know, just be patient with them like you were with me. And she's like, yeah, I know, like, because that school isn't they don't really know how to deal with kids that were like me, like kind of troublemakers, rule breakers. They kind of just shunned them. Or even just kids that were just minding their business and just, you know, meddling along and, you know, passing. They just didn't really give us a place because we weren't excelling. They weren't something we could brag about. So yeah, the power of teachers that can see something in someone that isn't necessarily maybe what the school or the curriculum or the technical or whatever, you know, it really makes an impact. And I want to see some ukulele as well now. You need to get it out. Maybe like a little outro jingle.
Oh,
So
hello.
I tell everyone this: they need to come to Vegas. So
Oh, you're doing that.
yeah. So there's a running joke with one of our community members in True Media. Shout out to you, DDS, because he's a drummer. And so he actually brought his drums on stream and he drummed his I forget what type of drums they were. And so they were super cool. So I told him if he ever made it to Vegas, I'll bring my ukulele. So he's coming to Vegas. And I said, okay, well, I guess I gotta bring my ukulele. So I'm gonna bring my ukulele. So.
Amazing. Somebody film it, please.
We're gonna live stream it.
Amazing. Someone film it, someone clip it, because it may be at a silly time, New Zealand timeout. I need to see that. I need to see it.
It's probably got to be at my worst moment. That's when they're going to clip it, right? That's like, bring my dog ass, please.
I don't really have. I wish I had music. I would love to play the drums. I wish I was musically inclined. I've played the guitar and the piano over the years, but it's not really like I'm definitely a creative in other aspects. But my partner, his brother who I live with, and his brother's best friend, they're all music. They're just very like, we've got like about 8 guitars in this house. They're always jamming. We've got about 4 different amps. They came in yesterday with another amp. I was like, great. I like put
speakers in every corner.
Literally, we've got like all of like this great gift, and they're like, oh, we should get a keyboard. I'm like, okay, where are we gonna put it? Because that's where the couch is supposed to go. Yeah, but his dad is very musically inclined as well, and they often go up to his place up north, and they just have like jam weekends, and it's really lovely to see them the guys connecting through music here. And I you know, I tease them a bit, but I'm like, I do kind of love that the guitars are everywhere, and I'm like, okay, we can have the guitars, we just need space for, you know, a couch and like a shelf and not all the wires on the floor. But no, it's lovely. I love hearing them. And one of our roommates is it turns out a really good singer. So sometimes I just hear them like having a jam and singing, and I'm just like, that's amazing. I love seeing them connect over that. I'm like, I can't really relate, but it's really nice to be around that and just, you know, pop out into the lounge and be like, oh, hey boys, you know, put my headphones on and watch my shows.
So we were telling Zoe in the backstage before we started the live that today, Aloha Friday, it's a special thing, and it's a real thing every Friday in Hawaii where we celebrate the end of the week. Right now, I'm going to tell you, probably in the next 3 to 4 hours, Zoe, we can turn off like all of the devices here and just listen out into, you know, the houses. You're going to hear people jamming music, singing, celebrating, enjoying themselves. This happens here as well, depending if my parents' friends come over and hang out, because they're all musicians, right? Or down the street, I talk about my Filipino neighbors. Love them. They party. They're going to play music as well. So yeah, that's kind of what happens every weekend here anyway. And like, you know, to kind of go on like guitars everywhere, this is literally our house. Am I talking this right, D? Every morning we hear music because my dad plays music. And so I love that my kids grow up with music. My daughter is getting into the ukulele. She just got into it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
She can't even take her hands off it. It makes me so proud to see this kind of stuff. And I'm not no big musician, by the way. I'm not trying to say I'm a big musician. Anybody watching, I just, you know, there's something I did when I was young. I played music. If you want to even call that, we can call it garage style band, whatever. But it was a fun part of my life, and music is something that will always stick with you. Or at least for me.
It's always like either the guitar or the toere. Just like they play. I always feel like they're like our alarm clocks, because all I hear is I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the weekend. Can I at least just like sleep in?
Well, they don't know what a toere is. Why don't you tell them what a toere is?
It's a Tahitian drum. yeah, made out of wood, and you use like the stick to like make different sounds depending on where you hit on the toere. And then they have the fakete, which is like another drum. Oh, she probably knows what those are, but for everyone else, um, yeah, you are a fakete player where you do the like to keep the beat.
I wanted to be different because everybody
Yeah.
in Hawaii and or basically in the Pacific Island Rim, they want to be toere players because dancers love toere players, right? You know what I mean? They're like the quarterback of like the Tahitian
Yeah, the
troop,
truth.
right?
Yeah.
And nobody really likes the fakete player, which is basically the drummer boy, right? You know, I'm the guy that's like, so I wanted to do the one thing no one liked because, you know, and I perfected that. I used to have like 4 or 5 drums on me and a big bass drum. We call it a pahu. And I played them all. And it's really easy just by keeping the beat and stuff like that. But nobody wanted to do that because, like I said again, dancers like toere drummers, not fucking except for my
Yeah.
wife. So,
Except for me, I'm the oddball out. Yeah, but I mean, what we wake up to every single morning is either the toere, the fakete, or the Tahitian banjo, which is really lovely.
yeah.
Or even like sometimes when Dad's feeling up to it, he does the the lap what do you call it? The lap steel
Steel guitar.
guitar. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's just beautiful when he does that. Or just the guitar, ukulele. Yeah. So every morning we wake up, whether we want to or not, to music.
Yeah.
That's been like
Wonderful.
that
There's
for like
worse things to wake up to than music, you
there
know.
are, yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alarms, crazy neighbors, and not the ones that play music and have a barbecue, like, you know.
Oh,
But
some
Yelling
of them are
crazy neighbors.
pretty interesting.
We have
You know,
some colorful neighbors
when you see their
depending.
kids like driving off and the girlfriend's on the hood and they're driving up, that's an interesting one right there. Yeah, that happened like last week.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you just
yeah.
Streaming
think, oh, the
babies.
kids.
Ooh, these
Oh yeah,
young
streaming
kids.
babies. Ooh, I
Yeah.
know.
Or you could
These
have
kids.
I was gonna say a West Virginia wake up call, which when I lived in South Carolina for 2 years after I graduated college, I was kind of like outside the city of Greenville, and we were like
Mhm.
up in the mountains, and like the very first morning I would get up, I had my coffee, was sitting outside, and all of a sudden you hear boom, 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 like a shotgun going off. And one of my friends was over and I'm like, what is going on? And he's like, yeah, that's what they call West Virginia wake up. They shoot off their shotguns every morning at like 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
So yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I would be terrified if I heard that because that's not normal around where we live.
Gun shooting and
Yeah,
orange
that's
soda for breakfast.
Yeah, that's not
yeah.
popular
Yeah,
here.
it was
No.
crazy.
My parents live out in Coromandel. Live in like a very small little rural town. It's also by the beach, so it's like a seaside town. When they're in New Zealand, that's where they're based. And we kind of grew up there. Like every weekend, every school holidays, they'd take us down, and I hated it because there was nothing. The TV was about this big. It was all right when we got a PlayStation. We're a bit older, but got a bit entertained. But I was like, there's nothing to do here. But now I appreciate that a bit more. But we would wake up to, we would always go to sleep Friday night we could hear the pub, like the bar. Pub culture is very like English, but we could hear like the live band. We'd fall asleep to that because they're up on a hill. It'd be down the bottom in the village pub. We'd go to sleep to the live band and wake up to roosters from the farm across the road. So it was very rural New Zealand go to sleep, wake up. Which at the time as a kid I was like, but now I'm like, actually that's quite charming. I kind of love it.
Yeah, when I was younger, where I grew up in another island, that's how I woke up every morning. Were the roosters. We woke up with the roosters, even if it was
Yeah.
still dark. So when I moved to the town that we live in now, we have a bunch of roosters and chickens like all over the place. But
Yeah.
they like the roosters crow like at I don't know, like 10, 12 o'clock at noon. I'm like, these are like I don't know where these roosters came from, but like
They're on
it's
We're
Hawaiian
in the
time.
wrong time zone.
yeah, like
Yeah.
really Hawaiian
Island
time.
time. We're on
And you
island
just
time.
yeah, or they're just letting us know that it's lunchtime. But I'm like, wow, this is like really late
They got
Usually
it.
it's
They
like
got like the
24.
wrong time zone, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, wake up. No.
It's like, where did they import these roosters from?
They're the lazy roosters. They hang out
Yeah.
too long. So.
I had a question, Zoe. Are you thinking of maybe going to like any in real life events to meet the community, or even like some of the publishers that show up to the cons and stuff?
I would love to. Who goes to those from the VeVe team is not my decision. I'm happy to put my hand up, but again, being in New Zealand, Dan and David already have to pay for the flights out to those places, so adding another Kiwi is a bit hard. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier to bring because a lot of our events are usually in the States. It's a lot easier to get the local team in, which I completely understand. But I love to travel. I was just in England and Singapore for 3 weeks and was able to remote work, and that's the beauty of this role at VeVe, is that I can work from anywhere really in the world, which is
Yeah.
amazing. We have a co-worker who just is constantly traveling. He's just kind of on the go all the time, which is awesome. So I would love to, but I think it's just about logistics and whether maybe if we do anything in Australia or if we do anything in New Zealand, absolutely. I'm happy to fly anywhere really, but it's logistics of it all is out of my purview. But I'd be down.
Yeah.
So if you
That
were
would be
down,
awesome.
where would you want to go? Sorry to cut you off, Dee.
No, you're good.
I think it's got to be the living out like my teenage dream of New York Comic Con. That would be or San Fran Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con. I think just especially when you're from New Zealand, like these big events are just they're another world away. Like growing up in the music scene, like Van's Warped Tour, like my best friend from high school that I mentioned, she every few years she flies out to America and just tours around America following bands and following the gig scene
Wow.
over there. So I'd love to do New York Comic Con, I think would be the big one. I've done like in my previous roles in other companies, I've done like the local conventions here, but they're nothing compared to the overseas ones. So I'd love to, but any opportunity to travel with work is a dream. But yeah, that would be the big one for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, we haven't been to either New York or the San Diego one, so we're hoping to next year, at least one or the other. But Fro here, he's been to both a few times, so and he's always reporting what he's looking for or just his adventures, because I hear it's quite adventurous just to like navigate the cons, whether you're in San Diego or New York. But yes, I know this year is going to be really big for VeVe because of the fifth year anniversary. So yeah, I'm excited. We're gonna be going to Vegas, so I'm excited for whatever they're planning to do. We'll be there for that and just to celebrate with everybody, just hang out and reconnect. The people we didn't get a chance to like really talk to last year, we're gonna come and bother you and talk with you, and maybe you'd wish that we never found you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So that's one of the big things I'm looking forward to this year. Just see everybody.
Yeah, it's fun to
Amazing.
connect. And it's pretty cool because like we started doing this podcast. I think we're like this is year 3. Fro was our second guest, but I never met Fro till last year in real life, and it's funny because like
Yeah.
I think he was at DCon because our first designer con was in 2022. We met David, we met Dan. My wife had dinner with Dan and didn't tell me. I'm still
You're
sour
still
about
sour
that.
about that.
I've
Oh my
had drinks
god.
with Dan. I had an Auckland meetup, like literally
Awesome.
the day I moved into this house. I had to be like, "Sorry, team, I can't help move. I have to go to a work lunch." And no, that was the day we moved out. And then I don't know. We were moving into this house, and then 3 days later, I was going to England. So it was a bit of a crazy time. So I was only there for a little bit, but I got to chat with Dan, which was like crazy because then you think about like, oh yeah, that's my boss. He lives in Auckland. Like, yeah, great. Like we're all meeting up, and then I hear that people like fly to Vegas or fly to wherever to like meet him, and like learning about like the community culture here and how big events are and how they're such a big deal is like really cool. It reminds me of when I was in esports and going to LAN. Like LAN was the big thing. If we got to have LAN, then that was when everyone would come, the players would come, the talent would come in. We'd be there obviously working, running the event, and but yeah, it reminds me of that. So it's really nice to come back into a space where I can see similarities, and I'm like, oh yeah, I get this.
And it's fun. I mean, like, I think that's the best part, and that's what inspired us to do this. Is meeting people, having that conversation, continuing the conversation on the internet, and it's very fulfilling because, like I said, Fro has been kind of a part of our organization here for 3 years, but I never got to meet him till last year. And meeting him and his brother for the first time was kind of like, I've known them my whole life. It wasn't
Yeah.
awkward. It wasn't weird. I literally was the porgy I warned him I was going to be, and they never ran away, which was funny. Maybe this year they might. We'll see. But I enjoyed it so much, and that's what I love about this space is the connecting part. I love making connections. I love networking.
Yeah.
I love this part, and I'm in communication, so that's really what I do for a living is communications, but not on this personal level, and not on a public way. I'm more the guy underneath the hood that makes all the things work. And so to do this and to interact even with you in New Zealand, this has been fun, and I've been really enjoying this. Guys, we're at an hour and a half. I'm going to ask you one more question, Zoe. I'm going to pivot a little bit and this is just something that I asked, I believe, old Rhubarb. And basically it has to do a day in the life at VeVe, and it's not what you think. What I'm asking is, what is kind of like your routine when you get up? I think I asked Ben Rose this question. I might have even asked David you this question. I'm asking you the same thing. You get up, what is kind of like your virtual water cooler? You get your coffee or your tea, you guys meet up, and I kind of joke around like, what's the color of the carpet? You know what I mean? What's the color of the virtual couch? But what is the day in the life of VeVe for you when you get up in the morning? If you can answer that.
Yeah, I mean, I love to sleep. I'm a sleepy girl, so I get up like as late as I possibly can, and then immediately go downstairs, turn my PC on, get logged in, because it's probably like 15 minutes before I start work, which is around 8:30 in the morning. I quickly have a shower, and then I get my coffee or whatever energy drink I have and my bowl of cereal, and I sit down and I start. I think my day in the life is usually immediately check all my messages. Obviously, we're a global team. We work with global partners, and my time zone is sometimes I'm working while they're sleeping, or they're working while I'm sleeping. So check all my messages from the team. Check all if I've got any messages or approvals or anything from our publishers. And I just have like we have like a task. We use Asana for all of our tasks and task lists, and I have mine and all of my stuff. I immediately see what is due today. So what do I have to do today? What do I need to get done so that the rest of the wheels and VeVe can keep turning and I can pass things along or bring stuff in or get the ball rolling. And I just anything that's overdue or anything that I was waiting to come in on, I sort of get that ticked off. I get cracking on our weekly drops. I see what's coming out this week. I get prepared for that. I do a lot of behind the scenes work on those. I also connect in with the team, say hi. I've been trying to jump on calls, whether it's for 15 or 20 minutes with some of my team and just kind of like get to know them a bit better. I'll just hop on a call if it's a work thing, or sometimes we even just have like water cooler conversation. I just chatted with one of our new hires yesterday, just to learn a bit more about him and his background, and vice versa. And he's worked on some really cool stuff. He's like worked on Lord of the Rings movies. It's incredible. Yeah. So I'm very deep heavy in our comics. So I'm always looking at what's coming out this week. And also trying to look ahead too. So what's sort of coming up in terms of comic releases, but also are there any anniversaries we can be celebrating? Are there any things on the publisher side that they've got coming up? Is it a new drop? Is it, their anniversary? Is there a significant date or a milestone that's coming up? It's just kind of planning ahead and seeing what can we do in terms of campaigns to help, bring that to life here on VeVe. Is it we've got a comic book coming up, so we need to organize like an interview with the Heroes Be Damned team for our weekly live stream? Do we have, we're going to be down on the floor at New York Comic Con. I know we have some publishers there. what can we do in terms of, is the team prepped? Do they know exactly who's going to be there? Can I ask them to get some extra content? Can I make sure that they know to tag people? Just kind of doing that. And my job is very much, working with the publishers and also working with our team to understand what do we have coming up? What can we do at VeVe to help, talk to our community and customers about comic books and what we've got coming up, and are we doing this in the most strategic way? And then also vice versa, how can we introduce VeVe to these publishers, or I guess their audiences, and go, hey, did you know you can read on VeVe, what VeVe is, what is, a collectible cover, what cover artists do we have coming up, the breadth and the scope and the library that we have on VeVe. And that's usually my day in the life. That's
Awesome.
kind of like I'll attend a couple of meetings if there's some meetings on, whether they be internal or with external partners. That's my day in the life. Try and squeeze in a lunch break every, now and then there. But if I haven't,
Zoe.
I know, I love a snack, so I'm a bit better now, a little bit more set up, getting a snack. But if I forget to do lunch, I'll finish half an hour early and get cracking on dinner or something. But that's kind of my day in the life.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like I kind of wanted to ask that question because like for us, like we're just kind of guessing, right? And so it's always kind of good to know, like, how does the process work for you guys? What do you guys do? It sounds like you do a lot, and I'm glad there's a lot of people now understanding the inner workings of what you guys do with VeVe. Yeah. I'm gonna pass the baton to my other co-host one last time for one last question, and then I've got my final question to you after they're done. Slider.
Yeah, you said you've been working with the publishers and everything. What is a publisher maybe that VeVe doesn't have, but you wish they could have? Maybe like, I don't know, one of the ones we don't have yet. Like, what's something that excites you that you would want to get on VeVe?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch that come to mind. I think having like DC is the big one, right? Like we've got Marvel, like DC is, comic book royalty. Like that would be great to get more there. Dark Horse as well. I know that we've got like a couple of comics that like are Dark Horse, but they'd like come through a different publisher. So getting in touch with Dark Horse would be amazing. I think that they've got a library that would really excite people. And me personally, Archie Comics. I think that they've just got some great IP that I personally love, like Sabrina the Teenage Witch. That's my homegirl. And then also like the Riverdale stuff is great as well, like the Jughead, the Jodie and the Pussycats. I think that's like really cool IP that I personally love, that I would be excited to get on. We did have one IP from one of our existing publishers. We have a series that came across my desk yesterday as confirmed, and I got so excited because it's one of my favorites. I can't say anything else, but it was the first time I went, oh my god. I think I messaged Granola like, we got blank. Oh my god. I was like, no, you don't understand.
It's that good.
Yeah, well, to me it's one of my favorites. Whether it's that exciting to anyone else, probably not, but I got excited. So yeah, but yeah, those would probably be the first three that come to mind, probably in order of importance. The last one being a bit of a selfish pick.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I would love to see Dark Horse too. So definitely.
Yeah, my personal pick would be Image. I would love to see Image.
Image got some good ones too.
Taking notes.
Bro.
Boom.
I just noticed when you said Image, Zoe did this kind of weird eye thing.
He's watching.
She went like this.
Her left eye tweaked a little.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a sign, Zoe, when he said Image. Oh, she did it again. Oh, the eyebrows! I just saw it. Image.
That's my. I'm taking notes. I'm cataloging. I'm making a note. That's my
screenshots.
Okay. Yeah, I'm making mental notes. I'm always listening, whether or not I can't ever promise anything, and I can't ever say that I'm good. And quite often the relationships with publishers, usually that deal happens and then it comes across my desk. It's like, hey, this is that's like how it would work in the pipeline. It's usually, David is amazing at he's just seems, he is the one that builds those relationships from what I understand, and he's very protective of them. So I feel very honored that, I'm given the conversations with them. And I always keep that in the forefront of my mind. But yeah, that I'm not, I don't make those decisions, but I'm always taking notes, and I'm always relaying, and I'm listening to what people are saying, and taking it on board as like someone that's learning constantly, but also as someone who goes, okay, if that's something that our audience is interested in, I can at least report it up the chain, right? Or I can at least, say, hey, this would be cool. And honestly, it's from what I've seen, I think, Dan and David are so passionate about getting IP. I think if they would have every IP under the sun, if they could, they're very protective of well, not protective. I think they're quite proud of the IP that we do have. And it's a crazy library already. And I know that they're really passionate about getting more of that on board. So yeah, they probably are thinking the exact same things that we're thinking, like, oh, I'd love to get this, or I'd love to get that, or how do we get this, or it'd be cool if VeVe could do that. So yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
You never know, it's gonna show up.
Never know. You never know what comes across the desk, or get pinged on, or get a notification, or get an email. You never know.
We'll see it when it drops on the app. Awesome. Good one, bro.
ND?
I don't have any questions. I've just been really enjoying the conversation, and just, everyone sharing their stories, some similarities and stuff from when we all were growing up. But yeah, this has been really cool. So thank you, Zoe, for your time and just sharing with us. This has been excellent.
Thank you. I mean,
yeah.
Exactly. Took the words out of my mouth. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for just like being interested in having me on. I was like, oh my God, okay. Yeah, sure, people. I've always been like behind the camera. And in this job, I've been like, okay, like it'd probably be good if you actually get on the camera and like chat to people. So, but you guys have been, like the community and everyone that's invited me on to anything have all been so lovely and welcoming and supportive, and this has been such a cool vibe. And I love just chatting about nerdy stuff and stuff I'm passionate about with people that are also passionate about that kind of stuff, and it's always leaves me feeling warm and fuzzy. So this has been so cool. Thank you so much.
That's so awesome. We're really happy that to hear that, because that is what we try to do here. Is whenever anybody comes on, we want them to feel welcome. We want you to feel like you're right across of us in a digital living room. So I'm glad that you felt that way. I got one more question for you, but before I ask you that question, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, because I am going to show you guys the trailer for Forever Man. Now here's some context on what this character is about. I wrote this character back in like when the TV show Mantis came out. I don't know if you remember Mantis. I'm pretty sure Slider does, but this character has similarities in terms of the look of that kind of character. But this character exists outside of time and space. I'm not going to say the origins of this character, because you're going to learn the origins when I make the production. But there's a lot of he doesn't really have superpowers, but he has gadgets. And he exists out of the realm of time and space. He can slow time down, and he can speed time up. And that's kind of like what his superpowers are. But I'm going to be very vague on the origins and everything else on this character right here. So, but this is a series that we're going to be releasing. Like, the people that watch our series, we have Lost Ties, we have The Rider, we have Metal Wars, and we have Polly the Panda. That's why people see a panda in our intros and outros. And these are AI content that you can watch on our channel right now. I believe there's like 3 or 4 episodes out. This will be added to our lineup in 2026. Why 2026? Because I need to clone myself. So, but just, anyways, here is a quick trailer of what to expect in 2026. And that is Forever Man. I'm super stoked for this. I've already written the first episode. I've got the script all drafted. I've got my vision boards out. I showed some of the vision boards on the timeline yesterday. Normally, when we release stuff, we've already kind of got it made already. So, first episode's out, and I'm going to try to at least write the scripts for 2 to 3. That takes me a while. That's why people have been waiting for Lost Tides and the writer. And my son has been waiting for me to do Lost Tides episode 4. I know people are wondering what's happened to the submarine. Did I blow it up? You have to find out. And I know Zoe's like, what are you guys talking about? But but that's
I'm
Forever
loving
Man.
it.
Hey, like I said, I'm a big geek right here, but that should be coming out in 2026, and I can't wait to release it and show it to everybody because it's going to be my first anime, guys. It's the first time I'm going to try this out. So throughout the 3 months, hopefully I can perfect it. But yeah, anyways, last question of the day, Zoe, which is you get to ask us a question. Ask anybody on the panel something. You can start with Slider and then you head with me.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I guess I'll ask like an open question that everyone can answer. I think what is a piece of IP or a piece of media that you didn't think like kind of surprised you? Like you didn't think that you would be a fan, or maybe you had some hesitations, or you were like, oh, okay, I'll check it out maybe, and you ended up loving. I would love to hear. If there is one, if you just love everything that you look at.
Yeah, I'll go. I would say not really an IP, but an artist, and because I like kind of got out of comic books, so like out of college, so probably I didn't really collect as much. I would go, check out the comic book store here and there through like the, 2010s to like 2020. So some of the artists I weren't really as familiar with, like Peach Momoko or Scotty Young. So I would say probably like Scotty Young is one of the ones that like when I first came into VeVe, like I saw his stuff and I really didn't like it because I had just got back into comic books and I didn't really like it in the physical that much. But then, the more I saw it on VeVe and the more they started dropping the, covers with his artwork and stuff, the more I kind of like really started to appreciate it. And he's actually one of the ones that I collect the most now. And at one point when it was just the, regular VeVe app, I had pretty much every Scotty Young cover. Now that it's opened up to the, green side, like I still have some, but there's just so many more now. So yeah, I would say that's kind of the one that really kind of like surprised me because his style really wasn't like what I was into. I'm kind of more into like the, Peach Momoko or, even like Mark Spears kind of stuff. So yeah, that's probably the one that really just like changed my mind was VeVe on that. So yeah.
Awesome. Brilliant.
What about you, Fro?
Good question. Wow, that's loaded.
I can share mine if it makes it easier.
I've never been a Star Wars fan. Like it was just I've always been a Trekkie. Like I've watched, Star Trek early episodes, and I've seen the Star Wars movies. It just never really appealed to me. Like I've never been, yay Yoda, way to go, Luke Skywalker, yay, like it's until VeVe, and then VeVe hits, and then Star Wars starts dropping, and it kind of just made me revisit the movies, revisit characters, their background, their backstory, and how they became, where they're at now. Like so, and then not to mention the high quality digital like collectibles on VeVe. Like I fell in love. Like Vader, like all the lightsabers, all the Star Wars vehicles. It just opened this door where I never really wanted to open to begin with. And I stepped in and I was like, holy cannoli. Like what just happened? And the nail in the coffin, absolute nail in the coffin was Grogu. Grogu dropped, so I'm like, I'm done. I'm buying everything Star Wars. I went out and just bought a bunch of Star Wars stuff, toys, collectibles. I went and bought vintage packs of the first Star Wars packs, the second packs, third packs. And I know you're not supposed to open those packs, but I did. I was like, I don't care. Like, maybe I'll get somebody cool. So I opened them, right? And I may have some packs right here that I opened. Oh, I do. Holy smokes, I do. Like, so I started
You're
grabbing these.
staging it. Don't lie. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, I opened them. Like, you're not supposed to, right? And I'm like, maybe I'll just keep the wrapper. Like, I got a bunch more. They're under here somewhere, but I won't dig through them. But because of VeVe, I wasn't a Star Wars fan. And then I started seeing the comic books, a lot of the comic books, the covers of the comic books that included the actual blister packs of the collectibles. Genius. Chef's kiss. I mean, that amazing, right? And the collectibles sent everything over the edge, and now I can't stop buying. I'll drink whiskey, talk to my brother, and we just keep pressing by now. Like, Zoe, look what happened. Look what you guys did. Yeah.
Whiskey and VeVe.
Whiskey and VeVe. Not financial advice.
Amazing. It's interesting how like your tastes can change as you get older. Like I have a very similar story about which I'm happy to share afterwards, but I want to hear you guys first about how you think, oh, no, that's not really my thing. And then for whatever reason, a couple years or 10 years or whatever later, you're like, wait, this is amazing.
Is it broccoli?
No, although I have come around on mushrooms as an adult. I really like mushrooms
I love
now.
mushrooms. Yeah, mushrooms are good. For me, I don't know. Like for me, either I like something or I don't.
That's good. That's fine. You like what you like, and you know what you like, and if you like it, great. If you don't. That's just as valid.
Yeah, because like for me, like I am more of a Trekkie, but I do have to admit, like when Fro was talking about like the collectibles and stuff, they are like really high quality collectibles on the app. I don't go for them just because I don't want to collect something that doesn't really mean anything to me personally.
Yeah, same.
Like, I guess like in terms of what I can say is now when I do go to like a comic shop or even like seeing things online, whether it's like on Fanable or it's on like on a Whatnot show or on eBay, certain artists I can say out loud like this is from this person because I've learned that from VeVe. So I can say I've learned some things, like especially artists like Peach Momoko, like that's automatic. Like, what is her art or what's her work. Scotty Young, same thing. Like Art Germ, Alex Ross, all those guys. But yeah, so I think for me, I know a little bit more now than what I did before, and I can spot them when I see them. But as in like something that I was surprised of myself, like I said, either I like something or I don't.
Yeah. It's interesting once you like get into, and this is probably just like algorithms and everything, but even in real life, like I'm spotting collectibles a lot more than like usually I just see a Funko. But when we were in Singapore, like just in the airport, we had time to kill. I was constantly spotting, collectible store here, collectible store. And my poor partner, I was dragging him around in 30 degrees, even though it was air conditioned, it was still really warm. And just like, can we go in here? Same with bookstores. I'm like, can we go in here? Can we go in this shop? Can we go in this shop? Can we go to this shop? He's very patient. He did have to sit down at one point when I found one in Singapore in Terminal 3. And I went, I'll be in here for like a while, go sit down. He went and got a coffee or something. Yeah, and then I walked out with like a whole bunch
We
of
can
stuff.
relate.
I don't know how I'm gonna fit this in. I don't know how I'm gonna fit this in my carry-on, but some of it's up there.
We'll find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it worked. I got it back, yeah.
Sorry, another thing that's interesting too, like I noticed after finding the VeVe and the digital space, like like people talk about mints and palindrome and stuff. So when I go to like the grocery store, and you know, like some fruits or the price tag has a certain number, you see like $9.39. Like, oh, that's a palindrome. It's a palindrome price tag. Or like the fruit has like the barcode of 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, oh my gosh, it's an ascending bit number.
Yeah, your
I was
brain
like, oh my
starts
gosh, this is like
recognizing.
no.
Yeah. Yeah, your
Yeah,
brain
it's
starts
just
picking up patterns, right? It's
hmm
really cool. Yeah, it's wild how the brain works.
yeah. What about you, Hinano?
Let's see. IP that I didn't like that I like. See, not really IP, but there is a character that I never used to
Yeah,
like,
perfect.
and that I do like now, and that is White Widow. And I believe
Mm.
she came out in Inhuman #5 on DV, and I collected all of that. But like, I never really liked the character till I watched what's her name? Portray the
Yelena?
character in the in the Black Widow movie. Yelena Belova.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't remember the actress's name,
Yeah.
but like, you know,
Florence
Florence.
Pugh.
Florence Pugh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's so good in that role.
She's
She's
amazing.
amazing. She's
And I
a
love.
talented
I'm sorry.
actress.
She's very talented and she's funny, and I love funny. I love that a character can be emotional, dramatic, damaged, but yet funny. And so I
Mm-hmm.
really gravitated with her. And so, like, you know, when the Black Widow, I'm sorry, the White Widow series came out, I think it came out like, I don't know, last year. You know, I was buying the covers. I bought the art germ. I got the you know, cover A, cover B, and I really started gravitating to the character. You know, I'm really hoping you guys drop that character on VeVe. I would like to collect that character as a collectible. But as for, you know, a character I never really liked or just never really knew too much about, it was White Widow, and now I'm a big fan. So, because I'm a big Supergirl fan, you know, when it comes, I really like female empowerment and all that stuff. So I love Catwoman. I love the fact that women are in charge, like our Lost Tides show. It's a female run crew because I really wanted to have empowerment of females and stuff like that. So that's what I really love about that character. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that's
That's good.
perfect. That's awesome. It's so interesting to see how like whether it's influenced through VeVe or influenced through like the a different medium of the character or a different medium of the comic, how that can, you know, as we get older, you know, go actually that collectible's cool. Maybe I should check out that. Or actually, that cover's cool. Maybe I should, you know. Or actually, that character was really funny. Like, let me backtrack and see where that has come from. So that's awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's all about like, do you resonate with these characters or IPs, or how does it
Yeah.
make you feel? Does it remind you as a kid, right? All those things, those sensories right there, they all kind of like help me make a decision on whether I want to collect, want to buy, whether I like this person, when I want to watch this movie, whether I dislike this movie, it's a horrible movie. I think it all kind
Yeah.
of
What I
relates around that.
really like
Yeah.
about VeVe and what I'm learning is like some people are really into like a certain artist, or some people are really into certain characters. Some people are wanting mints, like the mint number, that's what they collect. Like it's really cool to see how what influences people's are you a mint
This
collector?
guy,
See,
like this guy.
I'm unbothered. Oh, Chris. Hey Chris. um yeah, I'm not like too fussed about the mints. I keep getting to 262 or something. I keep seeing like a really 264 or something. I don't know, for whatever reason I see that. I'm not too fussed about mints. For me, it's about, do I like the character? Do I like, I think I have like a Lisa from Blackpink, like number like 1 3. I don't know, it's got a really long mint, but I'm not bothered because like she's my bias in Blackpink. Or like, do I have I have the pink VeVe logo because I think it's cute. Like I'm not necessarily going for mint, but I love how like everyone's so different and what determines the way that they collect. Like that's really cool to me.
Yeah, it's a fun world that we're in, and I don't think we'd all be here collaborating, connecting, and just having a good time in this space. Yeah, I like to say this. Like I'm in my mid 40s. I've also doxed my age here, and like I shouldn't be up here talking on a computer screen to anybody about like our fandoms and geek out with people. But that's what we're doing. It's fun. That's what we like to do, and we appreciate you giving us your time to do that. I'm going to start running this giveaway for everybody right now. Everyone that's in the chats, we do have a VeVe supported giveaway. If you want a chance to win something, type in hashtag be excellent to each other. And I say this again, guys, because right now the space is being rough. I know there's communities out there that are going through some uncertainty. So just be excellent to each other, be kind, and yeah. Let's just
Yep.
remember, people are all having some stuff going through life. Go ahead, T. I'm sorry.
We're all people. We're all humans. Yeah. So just be kind to one another and support each other.
Especially on the internet, it's very easy
Mhm.
to, when you're not having a face-to-face, it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole. There's always a human behind every account, and there's always a human.
Yeah.
Even like I've done social media management for companies. There's always a human behind that who isn't making the decisions. Just be excellent.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well said.
All right. I'm going to get this thing ready. Zoe, any final thoughts, final words for the audience? The stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Namihi Nui, for having me on. This has been a pleasure. It's been lovely talking to you guys, chatting, hearing about your stories, just connecting in so many different ways through this community. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for just wanting me here. This has been a pleasure. And yeah, be excellent to each other. Amen.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Famous
Kakite
words
kano.
from. Oh, I love it. And guys, with that being said, the banner is gone. There is whoever is, I can't even see how much people are in the giveaway, but we're gonna run this
11?
thing. Good luck, everybody.
Anan! He's here. He made it. Oh,
Hey, what's up, Anon?
no, he spelled it wrong, but he's here.
Who's it gonna
Good
be?
luck.
Mahalo!
Mahalo,
Let's
my
go.
homie.
These hands are for you, brother.
They
Congratulations.
are washed.
Congrats.
All right. Get in touch with Flexi or On My Way. I believe Flexi is in the chat, and maybe On My Way is in the background, in the back seat. I'm not sure. If not, reach out to us as well, and we'll help facilitate this. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in today. Dee, please close out the show.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chats. There's a lot of you all watching and listening, so appreciate everyone for being here. Thank you for your time, Slider and Frobro, for coming on as guest co-hosts. You're always welcome back, you guys know. And just want to say we appreciate your time, Zoe, for coming on and just hanging out with us on a Friday/Saturday weekend. And yeah, it was really awesome to hear, and just everyone's sharing their stories, which is something I really love to start the weekend off with. So it's been really awesome. And yeah, anytime do you want to come back on for just to hang out or anything, just let us know. You're always welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for introducing me to Aloha Fridays. I love it. I'm going to adopt that into my life, I think. Whether it's just going to bed early or just, kicking back and relaxing on a Friday afternoon with a book or whatever it is. I love it. I love that vibe.
That's
Awesome.
what it is. Be like, go ahead, Dee.
Sorry. Just want to give a shout out to Raven too, for she was also very prominent in getting you in touch with us to get you on the show. So thank you, Raven.
Shout out Cupcakes.
Yes, Cupcakes. Sorry, go ahead, Hinano.
No, it's okay. And also, I want to give a shout out to our guest co-host, Slider. Thank you so much for giving us your time and participating, as well as our brother here who lives on the island, Frohikomi. Thank you, guys. Do you guys have final things that you want to say as well? I'm sorry, I forgot to come to you guys.
No, just thanks for having me. And it was great. And it was awesome chatting with you, Zoe, and everybody else.
Likewise.
And yeah, it was fun. So have a good weekend, guys, and Aloha Friday.
Sweet.
Frobro?
Slider, thank you for hanging out with us. Dude, you're amazing, man. Like vice president for a reason. Like, thank you. Zoe, thank you for hanging out with us as well. Great to hear your backstory. I love the reading aspect. I love how that kind of kickstarted everything. Truly amazing. And Hinano and D, thank you once again for having me on. I'm sorry I'm such a
course.
bore at times, but I just wanted to hang out on the couch and just see how it felt one
Yes,
more
you're always
time.
welcome. You're not a bore. Come on.
You're not a bore, brother. And we appreciate you both for coming on. Zoe, it has been a pleasure speaking with you. We always like having people on from different projects so the community can get to know the people, the inner workings of the project, and to know that just doing their jobs, supporting the community that we all love and we love to communicate with and kind of like, interact with. So thank you for your time. Thank you for the audience for coming in, for people watching on the live or the replay. We have almost 650 plus eyeballs watching. So shout out to everybody doing there. Do something kind for people. Be excellent to each other. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care and aloha.
Bye.
Aloha,
Go.
kakite.